Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. Today, we're making a cool little DIY project. We're going to make a spice rack from Blackwood and copper pipe. Not only is it functional, but should give us a really cool accent piece for our kitchen, with a little bit of an industrial vibe. Now I know what you're thinking, why not just buy a spice rack from the store? Well, where's the fun in that? I'm sure we can make something nicer with a few easy to get items, and it's always a great thing to see something you've made in your kitchen every day. So what we're going to need for this one is some Blackwood, or any wood of your liking, but for this one, I think something dark to accent the shiny copper should give us a pretty cool look. Also, some copper pipe and a few 90-degree fittings. I just got these from my local hardware shop. And finally, some jars for your spices. It's a great idea to start with the containers you plan to use, so you can design the rack around them and make sure they are all going to fit. So let's get to work. We need to kick it off by trimming all of our wood down to length. Here we have 2 pieces for the uprights, 260 by 75mm, or 10 1/4 by 3 inch. And we also need 2 pieces at 550 by 75, or about 21 3/4 inches for the longer shelves that the jars will rest on. And now over to the joiner. We start off by squaring up one edge to give a clean edge to reference from. Then with one edge milled, we can push it hard up against our fence and give us a perfect 90-degree between the two sides. Now that they're jointed, we can run them through the planer to bring them down to the right thickness. We start by running them through with a jointed face down to make sure the two largest surfaces are parallel. And now that we've got those surfaced on 3 sides, let's get these ripped down to the final width on the table saw. Now to lock the shelves into place, we're going to cut some dados into the uprights to accept the shelf pieces. We're going to cut these ones at 25mm or 1 inch deep by 25mm or 1 inch wide. They should be just wide enough that the piece fits in with almost no gap. So this one is pretty straightforward. We just need to apply a small amount of glue into the dados, trying to limit the squeeze out as much as possible, as those edges are going to be tricky to clean up. We'll get the bottom shelf in place and using an adjustable square, inset the uprights about 12mm or half an inch. Now that we have this one all clamped up, it's time to clean off the excess glue that we definitely applied too liberally, and let it sit and do its thing. Now that the glue is dried on our shelves, I'll pop in the backing strips that will stop the spice containers falling off the back of the rack. Nothing new here, a little glue, a lot of clamps, and leave this one to set until it dries. With all our gluing and weighting out of the way, we'll give it a quick sand, starting with 60 grit to remove all that glue that we did a terrible job of applying earlier, moving up to 120 and finishing at 180. We're going to be using a hard wax oil to finish this one, so we definitely don't want to go too high in the grits, as the hard wax oil really responds better to a coarser finish. With the sanding out of the way, we're going to route a heavy chamfer across the bottom edge of the front of the shelves. This will give a bit more depth and create some shadows to give a little bit more appeal. We're also going to run a small round over all the other edges that we can get to. This one is a 3mm or 3/16 inch round over. It's not taking a whole lot off, just giving us a nice smooth feel and taking some of the blockiness out of the rack. With the sanding finished, we need to mark out the locations for the shelves and the holes for the pipe to go into, making sure we have at least 1.5 times the height of the jars between the bottom of the shelves and the top of the pipe. Next, we're going to cut down our pipe and see if we can make this all fit together. I've taken the measurements from my jars so I can set the back spacing with some shorter pieces of pipe. Then all we need to do is pop on the 90-degree fittings so we can take the measurement for the longer section and get it cut to length. Now that we've got these all mocked up, I'm going to head to the grinder and give my copper a bit of a machined or brush finish. This definitely isn't important, but my copper had some small dings and scratches, and I'm not sure what stickers they used to label these, but it seemed to be impervious to me being able to scratch them off without ruining the finish. Now we can apply some finish. I'm just using a silk hard wax oil to show the natural depth and chatoyance of the wood and give it a long-lasting, durable finish. You simply wipe it on, leave it to sit for a few minutes, and then buff off the excess. Now I'm sure this is the wrong way to do this, but my soldering skills are basically non-existent. Good thing I have some solder in a tube, also known as epoxy. Because I don't think things through properly, I'm using 5-minute epoxy. And it's pretty warm today, so I'm gonna have to move quickly. This is starting to set up in front of my eyes. So I'm gonna quickly glue together the elbows with the short lengths, and leave them to sit for a moment, and then glue the longer rails to the end pieces. Now that they have set, I just need to apply a little more epoxy into the upright pieces and send them to their final home. And there we go. It might not be the biggest project ever undertaken, but definitely a cool one that anyone could tackle over a weekend, and definitely adds to any space. If you're anything like me, organisation is always a problem, but now I have all my little jars laid out where I can see them, and they're all easy to get to. Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you liked it, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. Thanks guys, see you on the next one.